There's been an update on the Prodigy v. Buhr case. So Prodigy has dropped their request for a restraining order and preliminary injunction against Gannon Buhr. According to Ultiworld, their tagline says Prodigy is no longer demanding that courts block Buhr from signing with competitor. I believe that was the preliminary injunction, if I'm not confused there.
Yeah.
So Prodigy's withdrawn its request for that, and Georgia's district court the original Ultiworld article that came out said that Prodigy dropped the case altogether. That's not true.
Yeah, because that would have been much more wild news right there.
Yeah, original story said Prodigy dropped its lawsuit. That was incorrect. They've withdrawn their request for the restraining order and preliminary injunction to prevent Buhr from signing a new endorsement deal with a competitor, but the primary complaint for now is still pending. So there hasn't been any news from Prodigy or Gannon's camp.
There's supposed to have been a hearing, and I don't. This to me, if they're just dropping that tells me that, well, A, they're not dropping everything. So like they're still holding the lawsuit there. So they're clearly not just rolling over. Like this is not like originally when the article went out saying they dropped the whole thing, it was like, oh, like then something's really going to happen here. Now the case is still standing. So what this tells me is probably one of two things is going to happen. Number one, they dropped it because they've gotten to an understanding with Gannon that, well, I think either way they've gotten to an understanding with Gannon.
You want me to read what's in the filing?
Yeah.
Based on a temporary understanding.
Oh, okay.
Based on a temporary understanding between plaintiff, Prodigy Disc Inc., and defendant, GB, a minor by and through Michelle Neesham, which is his legal guardian, his mom, to maintain the status quo between them, plaintiff hereby withdraws without prejudice its motion for temporary restraining order, preliminary injunction, and a hearing. Plaintiff reserves the right to refile its motion should it become necessary and reserves all rights and claims relating to or arising out of the conduct at issue in its motion.
So they have an understanding to maintain the status quo, which I'm assuming would mean like basically his current contract. Now, but the case is still there. So this leads me to think that a few things could happen. You could have, they could be working on some sort of settlement deal that allows the release of Gannon, like a buyout, like saying, okay, you can negotiate a buyout with somebody else. We'll figure that out, but just maintain the status quo until that happens. Like maybe that's what's happening here. It could also be a scenario where they're like, you guys do what you want, but we're still going to pursue this suit. Like, you go sign with whoever you want or whatever. But we're still going to pursue this. It could also be a scenario where they're like, hey, let's start with here. We'll probably drop the suit, but you're going to need to stay. Just like, will you agree to just stay with us that final year? And then we'll just forget it. I'm waiting for my boy at Disc Golf Law. I don't know if he's released a video on this yet. Because this to me, I'm sure there's legal implications for like what this could mean. And I'm sure that he has a much better idea. He hasn't released a video yet. Hopefully it comes out soon. But to me, like the case is still there. So like there's nothing, the assumptions that I had about the case before are pretty much the same ones. Like the scenarios I just stated were pretty much the same ones I had beforehand.
Yeah.
So what I will say is this probably means we're going to see an update come a little sooner, maybe, because now it's like I'm not quite as certain that this is going to play out. I'm less certain that this is going to go to trial. What
my prediction is what I think is going on is this filing prior to this was making it where they couldn't negotiate deals. They couldn't talk to other companies, or very discouraged to. They might have been able to talk, but like nothing could happen and companies were worried. I think that what is going on is they now have behind closed doors some type of buyout agreement or understanding of like, if you get like, hey, this is the settlement that we want, a company can pay that for you. So in a roundabout way, we've created a buyout and we're getting rid of this so you can go find that.
Yeah.
So if you go to, we'll just say Discmania, since that was the one that Gannon was rumored to going to prior to the season. If you go to Discmania and they pay us X amount of dollars, then that'll be the settlement. Mm-hmm. The settlement is Gannon Buhr owes Prodigy X amount. Discmania pays that amount, he is now free of his contract.
And I mean,
that would be my prediction of what we'll see, is that in the next month or two, we see some type of, in a roundabout way, buyout happen, whether that be behind closed doors or in the public's eyes, and Gannon is then a free man from his contract that he is still legally bound to right now. He's free from that, allegedly legally bound to, is the way to put that, I guess.
Allegedly.
And so he'd be freed from that with a settlement and then signed with whatever company, and you could kind of assume that behind closed doors some type of buyout thing went down. That's what I'm imagining happened, and I'm imagining that's why this has gone down, is like, okay, let's get rid of the need of the hearing, let's get rid of this initial thing, because now we're on an understanding that some type of settlement's going to happen this year, and y'all can go find out this is the number we want. If y'all can go find that, great. If not, then you're staying under contract till the end of the year.
Yeah.
And that's what I would imagine, but that's all just speculation from me. So who knows what's actually going on.
Like Prodigy, you have to think that Prodigy would not, they just don't want to be where they're at right now. Cause I mean, literally they're posting congratulations, Gannon Buhr, on your win. And the comment section is a war zone. Like, I mean, they're getting crushed. So like, they don't want to be where they're at right now. Gannon doesn't want to be where it's just like, it's an unhappy situation for everybody. So resolution, I would imagine, has to come soon, and hopefully this is just like a step in that direction. You know, we don't really know. Maybe it's a step in the other direction. I don't even know.
Yeah, who's the way
but you know, yeah, it's not a good, like, because he's out there winning with Prodigy Plastic, but is that really helping Prodigy? Not really, because anybody who's in the know knows the situation is like, it's just weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting one, but we'll keep you updated as more stuff comes out. It does seem like more stuff will come out now. So